All right, there we are. Hey, Amy, how's it going?
Good, good. How
Awesome.
is it in South Carolina today?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh,
We are officially out of spring though. It's like it's hot now. It's
mm-hmm,
just hot. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yep,
It's good
same.
while it lasted.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Presley asked me the other day. Presley is my 7-year old. For those of you that don't know, she said, "Mom, when is it summer?" And I said, "I don't think it's officially summer till June 20th." She goes, "Well, it feels like summer."
Sure
I
feels
said,
like it.
"Yes, yes, it does." And I mean, the
Yeah.
outdoors are deceiving. It looks
Yeah.
beautiful, but the second you step out there, you're like,
I'm telling you, the humidity is here. It's here.
it is here. It's here.
Oh
Okay,
man.
so Shane, this is the last of the 5 ingredients that we've been talking about needed in order for you to actually scale a business, or as we like to say, ascend, which is just a synonym for scaling. Now, I like the idea of ascending better than scaling because I think scaling is a little overused. I think that it has a lot of different meanings, and ascend is just a steady upward climb. It doesn't have dips, it doesn't have starts and stops. And it's not just a straight catapult effect of speed that you can't manage the rate of where it's going. So, as we talk about the last of these 5 ingredients needed to really see your business make a consistent and steady climb upward, both in profitability and in impact and in influence, because I mean, having a business that makes money but you're not satisfied by the work you do isn't going to last very long. And also having a business that you love to do but you can't pay the bills is also not going to last very long.
That's called a hobby.
Exactly, that's what we call a hobby business.
That's
Well
right.
said, Shane. Well said. So, one of I saved this for the last because I think that there's a lot of different opinions, and a lot of those opinions are based on personal experience.
Hmm.
But as we know, partnership matters in business.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not necessarily a fan of taking business partners, but some of the wisest men and women amongst us at some point take a business partner. And there's a lot of value that can come from the right partners. But unfortunately, most people choose partners out of personal need. So if one of the big things that people choose partnerships out of is, I need money, you have money, I have impact, you need impact, let's be partners,
Yep.
right? Another thing I've seen happen, Shane, is people that take a partner because they like each other. Like, hey,
Hmm.
I just like being around you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should work
Um,
together. Yeah.
yeah, like we should
Yeah.
work together.
Yeah.
We both have the same passion, right?
Yeah.
And that is not a bad thing. But if there is nothing deeper than that, or the depth stops at a layer or two below that, you really have
Hmm.
set yourselves up for,
Yeah.
up for failure.
Yeah.
So, I somewhat follow this human. I have seen him and heard his name. And of course, we're all familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's
Hmm.
brand. And that I call it a brand because it's much bigger than a book, Rich Dad, Poor
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah.
And him and his wife are big into real estate investing and just really diversifying all kinds of
Hmm.
investments. They have all types of passive investments, active investments. And it was interesting because I heard him quote Donald Trump
Hmm.
on this particular topic of partnership. And he said that Donald Trump says, which, let's just be honest, Donald Trump is a brilliant businessman, and so is Robert Kiyosaki. And this is what Robert quotes Donald Trump as saying: "One of the best pieces of business advice I ever got was, you can't do a good deal with a bad partner."
Hmm.
And isn't that true?
So true.
Isn't that true? And partnership, as we're talking about it today, is really just partners or parties who, by agreement, enhance mutual outcomes. So if we're actually going to enhance mutual outcomes of someone that we're in partnership with, we have to bring more than just money or popularity to the table. Wouldn't you agree, Shane?
I would. And most partnerships are based on one of those two things. And I think the other thing about partnerships is people don't really understand the dynamics that are required for them to be successful. They see other people who have established a partnership and say, "Oh, well, we could do like they did," but they don't know what they knew when they started. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What are some of the underlying critical success factors of aligning yourself with others where there is a mutual exchange of value to deliver greater impact? And the byproduct is the increased profitability. So if you go into a partnership just based off of the money, like just stop, right? There has to be this mutual exchange of value that delivers higher impact. And I think we'll get into some more of that as we look at each of these 5 things.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought it was interesting in this particular YouTube video I was watching, Robert Kiyosaki and one of his business partners were having a conversation. And they said, we have to ask ourselves, what value am I going to bring that you don't have? Mm-hmm. So this has to be the jumping off point that I would strongly recommend we ask ourselves before we step into a relationship. I stepped into a business partnership as a young adult and also very, very, very young in my leadership and business experience. And this was not a question I asked myself. And as you can see, we are no longer in partnership. And so it's very important that we have this honest conversations with ourselves and simply ask, what value do I bring that you don't have? Because if we can't bring the next 5 traits to the table, more than likely we don't have much to bring yet. Right. Yeah. So the first thing that Robert Kiyosaki said is there has to be an alignment of values. Now, a few episodes ago, we talked about values, and values are, shaped by a myriad of different things. But if you don't know what your values are, how will you ever be able to hear someone else's values and determine if they're bringing something to you that is needed, that you're missing? Shane, what do you see as the second trait?
So I think another way to be able to approach evaluating is just the right fit, right? Is looking at this person or this entity's even ability to make good decisions fast. There are people out there who can make fast decisions. That's different than making good decisions fast. So there tends to be a group of people who will go, right? And then they'll look back and see how much damage it was that was caused by the decision making and try to learn for it and carry it forward. If you just have an unending source of wealth, you can get away with that most of the time, right? Yeah. You can afford to make those kinds of decisions and learn from them and move on. Most people aren't in that kind of decision making or flexibility in their decision making because they don't have that kind of cash. Yeah. The second group of people are the people who practice analysis to the point of paralysis. They are so risk averse that they continue to dig this hole of what if. And there are so many opportunities out there that are time sensitive that you need to be aligned with people who can make good decisions and make them fast, not people who can afford to make a lot of bad decisions and not have to worry about the financial consequences, or people who will just dig a hole so deep that they can't even remember where they started from. Like you need people who can be the balance of those two things, which is people who can make good decisions fast. Because as this relationship begins to evolve and opportunities begin to reveal themselves, you got to be able to move. But that also requires people who have had some experience and who don't just have experience, but have evaluated experience that's produced wisdom. Doesn't have to be age, but they have to have wisdom. I don't care what age they are. You can have a lot of older people like me who have no ability to practice the application of knowledge, which is wisdom. You can have people who are younger, much younger than me, like you, Amy, who can make really good decisions fast because you've learned early. how to apply your knowledge and make it where it's wise. So people who can make good decisions and make them fast.
So well said. So well said. I see the third trait as being they need good financing. Like we can't just come to the table without having managed our own money really well. We've got to be able to say, hey, I too can contribute hard, fast cash. And I'm not taking from Peter. Right. I'm not robbing from Peter to pay Paul in this business deal. So, and I would say that someone that has good financing has, that is a measurable impact of value they're bringing, because you can see character has been forged over the course of a long time in order to establish and maintain and tend to that good financing. So it's not just about the money, it's about the character that backs that good financing, for sure.
Yeah, that allowed it to be able to be there in the first place.
Yeah,
that's very
for sure.
Another one of these, I think it's important, is, somebody whose belief is similar to mine and is influenced by the same input. So someone whose belief is similar to mine, we don't have to think the same thoughts, but we have to be coming from the same source that is shaping our thoughts. Okay. So that to me goes back to knowing what is true, right? So think about it from a business standpoint. There are principles that govern success. If I'm operating out of one set of principles and someone that I'm trying to align with has a different set of principles, it's going to give us different thoughts that are not aligned. That doesn't work. That's where partnerships break down. If I have a different source that's shaping my thinking, well, inevitably we're going to come into a situation and we're going to come at it from different angles with different belief. And that's where conviction is going to separate us.
Well said.
So what does it mean to have, these similar beliefs that are coming from the same input? It means agreeing up front. What are the principles that are going to govern our decision making? We already have a values alignment if we're practicing these and living them out. We already have values alignment. Now we have to have belief alignment. What are the principles that are going to shape out our thinking? I'm going to come at a problem very differently than you are, Amy, and you're going to come at it very differently than I am. But our source, the principles that we pull from, are the same. That allows us to have this rigorous debate, to have candid conversations from different angles, and be able to then use that to get to the best decision. You can't do that if you don't have similar beliefs and you have a totally separate launching point that you're coming and filtering your thoughts through.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I hope you guys are taking notes. Shane is a fast talker, so write it down.
Fast talker.
You are. You're a good and articulate fast talker.
Fast talker.
Yeah, fast talker. Now, last but not least, I want to, before I close this with the fifth trait of a good partner, I want to just review what we've talked about. So number one was we need to have aligned values. Number two, we need to prove we can make good decisions fast. We need to demonstrate that we have and can get good financing. And fourth, our beliefs need to be similar and influenced by the same input. And last but not least, we've got to be able to prove that we have a track record of managing relationships and resources well. I've met a lot of people that are in partnerships where one is just the visionary. Oh, I'm just hands off. I don't execute. Both need to be able to demonstrate that you can do both. Some of the greatest people of our time could both be the visionary and execute the vision at the same time. I mean, some great examples of that just in the sports world is Evander Holyfield. He was both heavyweight and lightweight, right? You also have one of my favorites, Michael Jordan, both defense and offense.
Baseball and basketball.
That's right. In the tech world, you have a Bill Gates. He both knew hardware and software. And so you've got to be able to prove that you can be the 30,000 foot guy, but you also know how to manage the granular parts of the business, because it's there that the slow leaks of cash and character tend to seep out if we don't know how to manage or if we're unwilling to be a manager in the relationship. And so it's very, very important that we know how to manage, because even as our business gets bigger and we ascend to higher places of income and impact, and our teams grow and we're able to duplicate ourselves over and over in people, management never goes away, but it looks different.
Sure does.
And so you've got to be able to prove that you know how to lead and manage in this relationship. Otherwise, one partner is going to carry the brunt of the management and the other one is going to do what? Live off of the fruit of the relationship. That's what happens most often in partnerships of business. If we don't establish what we expect from each other, if we don't answer the question, what value do I bring that you don't already have? Until we can answer that question and evaluate ourselves and the partners we're talking to through the lens of these 5 traits, and this is really just the beginning of the conversation, then we really are destined to doom the relationship, the partnership, to a very slow and uncomfortable death, to be quite frank. And so I want you to remember that we are always talking about how systems run the business, but systems don't function well without good humans running the systems, including in a partnership. So Shane, before we sign off here, I have to tell you, thank you for being such a powerful partner to me. Just in all ways through the course of our relationship. Although we are not business partners, our relationship has impacted the work I do in business, the work that you do in business, our family relationships. It's been such a good journey for me. So I just have to tell you, thank you.
Listen, right back at you, man. I'm glad to be aligned with you, and to walk out this journey is a blessing to me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
right
you.
on, man.
All right, guys, we will return next week with a whole new set of systems and people problems that we will bring a solution to.
Right on.
Hope you guys have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.